Okay. So in the last session we discussed about multi-arc, and we plan to do the multi-arc related configuration of the system. Before we get into the multi-arc, we'll talk about balance and segment. What is the use of the balance and segment qualifier, right? So we'll talk about balance and segment qualifier. After that, we'll try to understand little bit detail level about responsibility. So once you understand about this responsibility definition, the purpose, everything, then we can go ahead and we can create the responsibilities for all these applications. So we have 6 flexfield qualifiers, right? We have 6 flexfield qualifiers. Out of that, as a mandatory, how many we have to assign? Balancing a natural account. If you are using the fixed assets and other purposes will be using the cost center also. That anyway we didn't assign, that we'll see later. So we assign only 2, balancing segment flexfield qualifier and natural account. The purpose of natural account is to add 3 additional segment qualifiers for segment values, because we assign natural account segment flexfield qualifier to account segment. When we are creating the account segment values, along with allow budgeting, allow posting, we are able to see account type, third party control account, reconcile. These 3 we are getting because of natural account segment flexfield qualifier. If you assign natural account segment flexfield qualifier to company segment, what happens? It will add 3 more to the company, but generally for company, do you need to set account type?
No.
I think that's very wrong, right? So that is the reason it's wherever it's required, we are assigning, that's always account only. Done. So that is the purpose already we discussed. Now balancing segment flexfield qualifier. The actual name is balancing segment flexfield qualifier. So what is the use of the balance and segment flexfield qualifier? What it will do is, where we assign this balance and segment flexfield qualifier, which segment we assign? Company we assign. Why we assign? So the transactions, whatever you record in the system, will be recording for specific company, right? Specific company. As per balancing rule, as per accounting rule, okay, every debit should be equal to credit. The debit and credit should be equal. Say some user is going to record the transaction, the debit is 10,000, credit is 100 only. This is an example I am taking, 100. So user will create the journal or some other transaction, they will be processing. When they are processing, the rule needs to be satisfied, right? The accounting rule. Every debit should be equal to credit, or credit should be equal to whatever it may be, debit should be equal to credit. Both should be same. So to satisfy that rule, we have this balance and segment flexfield qualifier. If you assign this balance and segment qualifier to company, what system will do is, if you are recording the transaction for a specific company, always it will make sure that debit is equal to credit. If you try to create the journal, you know, like in last session only we created journal. If you create journal by giving the debit amount is say 1000, credit amount is 2000, system won't allow you to post. Reason? Because of this balance and segment flexfield qualifier is assigned to your company segment. So the balance and segment qualifier, what it will do? Always it will balance. It will try to balance the each and every transaction. If that is not getting balanced, it won't allow us to post it. If you are not able to post, there is no use of the transaction, right? Why we have to post? To update the balances, we discussed already. To update the balances, we have to post it. If you are not able to post, you are not able to update the balances. You are not able to update the balances. What is the use of the transaction? So that's how this balance and segment flexfield qualifier will have some control on the transaction process. Always it will make sure that debit is equal to credit. If in any transaction debit is not equal to credit, it won't allow to post, or I'll say it won't allow to process. Okay, that is one point. Other point is, say for example, I am going to record the transaction like this. I'll take the balance and segment value as a 1000. So say department is, instead of giving value, I am giving the name, finance department, expense for example. I'll enter 10,000. So here I'll enter the credit line. Say this is the debit line. This is debit. So here also credit. Here I'll be taking the account as a say cash account. I'll create transaction like this. System will accept or not to post it. Think and tell me. Don't tell me some simple statements. It will accept. Sure. Who are sure? Everyone should be sure. What's wrong in that? Debit is equal to credit, right? The same we are discussing. That's what you have to be ready to answer. That's all says your understanding how much attention you are paying in the class. Okay, nothing wrong, right? Debit is equal to credit. So because for the company we are assigning the balance segment flexfield qualifier, it will look at the debits are equal to credit or not. The debit and credit, it's not mandatory all the time. We should have one debit line, one credit line. You can have multiple debit and multiple credit, but the amount should be equal. Okay, in this case it will accept. But again, what balance segment flexfield qualifier will do is, one thing is it will verify debit amount is equal to credit amount or not. The other thing is the balance and segment value also same or not, it will verify. So debit is equal to credit, but debit is for company 1, company 1000, credit for company 2000. Okay, when you assign the balance and segment flexfield qualifier, it will make sure that the amounts are equal as well as for the same balance and segment value. Yeah, for the same balance and segment value. It's not like just amounts are matching, debit amount is equal to credit amount. It won't allow. It will make sure that the balance and segment value, the company values we call as balance and segment values. Reason, we assign balance and segment flexfield qualifier, right? To which segment we assign balance and segment flexfield qualifier, that segment values we call as balance and segment values. That's what system will verify. This job will be done by balance and segment flexfield qualifier. By mistake, if somebody is trying to enter any transaction where debit is not equal to credit, it will stop. It won't allow for further process. And by mistake, if somebody is entering the transaction with different balance and segment values, okay, in that case it will be stopping. There will be some scenarios where you will be having this kind of transactions. Their system will allow, which we call as some intercompany transaction, which will be having the transaction internal purpose within the organization. If there are some sales and purchases, right, one branch is purchasing something from another branch, in that case you don't need to make the payment, and other branch is going to not going to receive the payment, right? It's all about internal transaction, just for adjustments. So in that cases it will be accepting. That's a different concept we'll discuss, but this is the use of balance and segment flexfield qualifier. Generally, balance and segment flexfield qualifier will assign to the segment which segment level you want to balance the transactions. Which segment level you want to balance the transaction, on that base balance and segment qualifier will be assigning to the relevant segment. And when you balance the transaction particular segment level, that segment level only you will be able to generate the financial reports also. Okay, financial reports. So what level you want to generate the financial reports, generally on that base you have to assign the balancing segment flexfield qualifier. Okay, so that is the use of it. Now we'll go and test in the system. Already we know how to create the journal, we tested in the last session. Now we'll go and see how to create the journal. I mean, we discussed how to create. Now we'll go and test this functionality. The balance and segment flexfield qualifier functionality is working or not in our system, we'll verify. Okay, let's go to our instance. Just a second. Connecting. So what is the username? HCL, right? Go to general ledger responsibility. Click on any one of the sub menu and then click on any one of the function to get into the form based environment. So activate. When you are practicing in the lab, you don't have all these issues. Since I'm accessing online, remote access, so plugins, autos. Fine. So now whatever we discussed, we'll see the proof. Okay. So you know the navigation to create journal, right? What is the navigation? Journal center. That is a navigation. Just you have to click on new journal tab, right? Journals. Enter. This point you don't need to take it. Already you know how to create the journal. That's enough. This point just for our understanding to check that balance and segment flexfield qualifier functionality. So I'll create the journal. I'll give you as a salaries. Company, department, account. We'll be adding the many accounts. So okay, and here the debit. I'll give 5,000. Okay. The above field data, how we can copy into current field? Shift F5, right? Shift F5, change account. Click on LOV. Stop selecting again company and department. You can copy and just change the account to cash. Here I'll enter 4,900 only. Now just try to save it. So the total debit do not equal to total credits for this journal. Still, do you want to save it? So because we have a balancing rule, that is prompting this message. Okay, still I want to proceed and I want to save it. Yes, I saved. Okay. If you save, nothing will happen. Just record will be saved, but balances cannot be updated. What is the triggering point to update the balances? Posting. Posting will trigger the updating the balances. Okay. So now I'll try to post it. Click on post. Concurrent manager knows everything, right? Knows everything. Say okay, submit, done. We submitted this journal to concurrent manager saying that please process. And concurrent manager, okay, just will validate. Okay, balance the segment value we have, like that is just enabled. Balancing rule is enabled. Whether this transaction is just for, I mean, this transaction is within that rule or it's out of the rule. It will system will validate and it will give the message. Anyway, we'll go to the SRS window. Refresh. See warning. We got warning from the concurrent manager. Reason, there is a violation. The balancing rule violation. Transaction is not getting balanced. You can click on view output. You can go and see the warning reason. Otherwise, since this is journal, directly you can find from here. You can requery this. Copy the journal name F11, right? Then paste the same name. Control F11. Just we are refreshing. That's it. Now go to other information tab. Here you can see the reason. What is the reason? Posting error 6. What is the error description? Showing suspense is not allowed. Okay, suspense is separate concept, but simple point here to understand. Not getting balanced. Who is enforcing this control in the system? Balancing segment flexfield qualifier. If that is not there, every journal is allowed. There is no accounting rules or policies we are following in the system. That is the reason Oracle given this balancing segment flexfield qualifier. So once we assign, so that's respective level, the every transaction will be get balanced. Okay. So that's all about it. Okay. Now I'll just balance it. So I'll make it 5,000. Now definitely it will accept. But what I'll do is I'll change the company. In this case again it should not accept, right? Here debit is equal to credit, but not for the same balance and segment value. Don't call as company. Call as balance and segment. Okay, balance segment value. Done. Now let's try to post it. Request is submitted. It takes some time. So this is the purpose of balancing segment flexfield qualifier, why we are assigning. It will make sure that everything is getting balanced. Same. You know the reason, right? The same. That's all. No, balances are okay. Debit amount is equal to credit amount, but not for the same balancing segment value. As per balancing segment flexfield qualifier, simply you say the balancing segment flexfield qualifier will enforce the balancing rule. What balancing rule says? Debit should be equal to credit. That to same for the same company. So this journal cannot be posted until unless you correct it, which will be accepted by balancing segment flexfield qualifier. That's it. Just we submitted for posting, right? We have to refresh, then it will accept. It's under process, so it's not accepting. Now you can update it. Now just save and do submit for posting. Now it will get posted without any warnings or errors. This is all about some accounting standard. Okay, accounting standard is an accounting rule. That means with the help of this qualifier, we are implementing the rule in the system. That's all. With the natural account, we are adding the 3 additional. Tell me, 3 additional. All should answer. I don't know why 2-3 people will be answering all the time. Segment qualifiers. That now it's posted. There is no issue with this. Okay, you requery it. You can see the updates. So posted. So journal got freezed. We know, right? After posting the journal, you cannot do any updates. If something wrong with the journal, there is separate mechanism how to work on it, that we'll be discussing when we are working on relevant concept. Now status is posted. Now you clear about what is a balance and segment flexfield qualifier, right? And again, there are certain other points to understand when we start with the subledger application. The same balance and segment values based, there are some other points also we should understand, which are key points. Okay, when you are working on the projects, that also will be discussing once we get into subledger applications, AP or other applications. Okay, done. Now the second point. Second point is we'll talk about responsibility. Now the simple definition. What do you mean by responsibility? Or else let me ask you, what is the use of responsibility? Responsibility will give the access to specific application. Specific application. Through responsibility only you can access the specific application. That may be entire application or particular submenu or functions. So simple definition. We'll get into that and you can understand everything detail level. But for now, simple definition is with the help of responsibility only we can work on any application. Okay, it will give some provision to access certain forms or features. That's it. Now we know how to create responsibility, right? Now we'll try to understand why we are creating in that way. What is the meaning of that? If you are selecting the data group, how to create responsibility? Simple answer. Anyone? I don't need detailed answer. I explained you also this kind of questions how to answer. My question is how to create responsibility. Don't tell all those things. See, try to understand the question. I told you this kind of, this is a question means this is how you have to answer, and I just given some outline about it. So my question is how to create responsibility. Can you tell me how to create responsibility? It's a right question is different, your answer is different. Next one, please. Next one. How to create the responsibility. Think just I am not asking in which application will create responsibility. I am not asking. I am not at all asking what is the navigation to create. I told you very clearly. If there is question how to do it, think always the form is open. And we discussed you have to start with very high level explanation. If at all required, then you can go detail level based on the cross question whatever you will be facing. That's it. Tell me how to create responsibility. No. I am not asking you. I'm sorry. I am asking him. How to create responsibility? Simple point I'm telling. If you are not able to answer in the classes, you are not doing this course. You may be thinking and feeling you are doing course and you are attending all everyday class, but it's not valid at all. Next one, please. How to create the responsibility? I'm not asking difficult question. If you find it difficult, tell me. I'll stop it. Okay. First of all, we are dealing with a difficult course, right? Right. The course itself, it's a very simple course. How to create responsibility? You created or not? Same. Please tell me. How you created? Then my question changed. How you created responsibility? No. I'm not asking application and all. Leave it. Form is open. What is the navigation? Then tell me. Next one. How to create responsibility? No, I'm not asking navigation. How to create responsibility? No, I'm not asking the which application. I just now I given the point, right? Still, I don't know why you are following different ways. Next one. No. My God, what is this answer? Next one. What is that? Next. Why it's something good or what? Everybody is saying no. You attended and you got enough gap to practice, and I'm clearly telling please do practice. Next one. Not required. I told you in the different ways. So simply I said I compared with the primary ledger and I explained, right? How to create responsibility means with the help of data group, request group, and menu. If at all detailed explanation is required, then you can go with the. I'll ask this question: how to create responsibility. You have to answer. When you answer in this way, that shows some experience. Show some experience. The key points which will be involved in the primary responsibility creation. That's how people will understand. The way you speak, that's how the people will be finding you. So we discussed the same point, right? And the day when we create a response, I explained, but I don't see any use. Okay, how to create responsibility means by just using the data group, request group, menu, we can create the responsibility. Could you please explain detail level? Then you have to start with first we have to give the responsible name, then we have to give the responsibility is against which application, that application name and short name for the application, the data group and the data group related application, then menu we have to select and we have to select the request group. This is how we can create. The other question is what is the navigation? You have to explain that. Security responsibility define. In which application you can assign? You can create the responsibility. General ledger? Yes, sir. In which application you can create the responsibility? System administrator. So these are the different questions, right? On the day also we discussed. But now when I ask how to create responsibility as system administrator, somebody is telling. The question also you are not able to understand, your answers nowhere concerned. Please try to implement that practice. That's very, very important. Okay. Anyway, now what are the responsibility we created? Once again, just we'll go through it and we'll try to understand the key points, what we should understand from that, and we'll be testing whatever we are going to discuss. Okay. Let's get into this responsibility creation form. For this user, we given access to system administrator responsible, right? So how to switch to other responsibility? Tell me how to. Just you have to speak out. If you are going to say, yeah, see there is one thing and there is some click on that. If you are saying that is not valid, everything should come out from your mouth only. It's not through expressions or some showing indication. Yeah, tell me like my question I am asking. I'm not opening the response. I am not opening the application. You tell me how to switch from one responsibility to another responsibility. Click on switch responsibility icon, you can say, or else go to file, there is an option called as switch responsibility. This is how you have to answer. So simple point I am telling, we are in the very beginning. If you are not okay with the basic things, I don't know how you are going to manage with many things which we are going to cover in day to day. That's it. Anyway, let's proceed. That you can think on that. Fine. Now we are in the general ledger responsibility. Now let's switch to sysadmin. So here we have a switch responsibility icon. Click on switch responsibility, select system administrator responsibility. We'll just open the same responsibility whatever we created. So what is the navigation? Security responsibility define. So how to find the responsibility? Click on find, right? So it's here. Okay, when I type HCL, it is coming. Okay, so here what we have to understand: what is the data group, what is the menu, what is the request group. So to understand it, I'll take simple example. So when you talk about database, okay, when you talk about database, so here, so let me take this. I think this is the database space. Within that, what Oracle will do is we have one will be having one database. Within that, we have to store the each and every application related data, right? When you are working on payables related setups and payables related transactions, or GL related setups and GL related journals or other transaction information need to be stored in the database. In database, what they do, they'll do some partition. Okay, the database, there'll be some partition. Okay, like this space for payables, this space for receivables, this space for some other applications, say fixed assets, this is for cash management, and so on. Like in the same way, the total database, they'll be allocating some space for respective application related data. And technically speaking, the particular application related area, allocation of the database area, we call a schema. That's technical term, you don't need to take it, not required, just for information I'm telling. We call it as schema. Where AP data will be stored, that simply we call as AP schema. Where AR data will be stored, that we call as AR schema. This is AP. Okay, so say this is AR, this is a CM, this is a FA. Okay, for each and every application, there is some allocated area. Within that only the respective application related data will be stored. Reason, within that area only that application related tables will be residing. That's the reason that specific area will be calling as schemas. This is AP schema. In terms of database, I am talking. AP schema, AR schema, CM schema, FA schema. For all the applications where all the applications will be in one schema called as app schema. Apps means within the apps only these are the applications, right? For overall database also will be having one schema called as app schema where all application related data you will be able to access. That's a different thing. Anyway, now for whatever the database we have, for that Oracle is giving this database as standard database, right? It's given by Oracle. Simply this database name is standard. Okay. Now when we are creating the responsibility, through responsibility what we are trying to do? See, no secret what's there in that. Why we are creating responsibility? With responsibility what we are trying to do? With responsibility we are trying to access the application, right? How to access the application? With the help of menu. With the help of menu. Menu will consist of submenus or directly say functions. Okay. Now in the responsibility we will be selecting the menu. If it is for GL, what is the GL menu? Seeded menu, standard menu, which is given by Oracle, which include all the features of GL. What is the menu name for GL? GL super user, right? There will be underscore and all, but don't use it. Okay, GL super user. Okay, for GL we have a menu called as GL super user. Within that we will be having the submenus and functions. I'll open and I'll show you also. Okay, so we are selecting this. So done. Within that we have, just we'll open and see that submenus. Okay, within that whatever the submenus we are discussing, those are there or not. Okay, so what I'll do is, so what menu we are using in our responsibility? GL super user. Just remember this point, and I'll just switch to GL only to make a screenshot, so where we can compare and understand easily. When you come to GL responsibility, these are the submenus we can see, right? Just I'm making the screenshot. Okay, so that now we are discussing these all are part of what? The journals, budgets, inquiry, currency, consolidation, reports, setups, other. All we have within GL super user only, right? But is there any way where we have seen these are within inside only? No, right? Now we'll go and see that whether these all are there within the GL super user menu or not. Okay, where you can verify. The further sessions will be discussing how to create our own menus also, but for now let's try to understand what existed, how to understand those. Okay, so we'll go to the sysadmin. Okay, just take the task as create custom menu. We are not going to create the custom menu. To create the custom menu, what are the navigation we take, the navigation we are going to follow to see existed menu related submenus and functions. That's it. Okay, but we are not going to create, but take the navigation. Later we'll be doing it. Task name is create custom menu. That means with that navigation you can create the custom menu, our own menu, or else existed menus you can see within the existed GL super user. What are the submenus and functions we have, everything you can see. So navigation is application menu. Okay, so menu consists of functions and submenus and functions. So that, or else directly you can say functions. Submenus is just for classification. For reality we need only functions. So navigation is application menu. Why we are navigating now? Not to create custom menu. Just I said to take that we are going to review. To review in GL super user menu, we have all the submenus or not. What are which submenus? These submenus we discussed, but we didn't see that, right? As those are there inside on. That we are going to see the proof. Okay. So navigation from sysadmin is application menu. So what is the menu for GL? GL super user, right? Keep form in the query mode. F11, right? What is the menu name for GL? GL. If you query this menu here, inside of this menu, what are the submenus and functions we have? We can see. Execute the query. How to execute? Control F11. See what we have inside: journals, budgets, inquiry, currency, consolidation, reports, setup, others. Same we have or not? Journals, budgets, inquiry, currency. These are just display name, prompt, window prompt we have, right? Window prompt means always display. If I give the name here as a HCL journals, here name will be displayed as a HCL journals. But the real submenus are these. See here, submenu. These are the submenus which are developed by Oracle. But this display name you can give anything. Once you click on that, it will open. And see here, once you click on journals, what will open? Enter, post, and there will be many other submenus also, right? So in the same way, if I take this submenu, GL SU means submenu related to journals. I'll take this name, I'll query that. Within inside of that submenu, what are the functions we have and other submenus we have, we can see. This only we'll see, right? From the navigator, if you click on submenu, journals will open, enter, post, encumbrance, import and all. Within that also we have some submenus. And we know other navigation also very well. We'll see that. GL super user. So we know setups, right? Once you click on setups, it will open what? Financials and many other, right? Now we'll query the same you can see here because all those are there within this one, right? So I'm taking this submenu name, query from here. Means you can query main menu or submenu, anything inside what we have you can see. This only, right? Financial. Once you click on financials, again within that we have some submenus, right? Those also you can query and see by taking that name. This only, right? Flexfields. Again, if you query flexfield, again within the descriptive key and all, the same you can query and see. That means within that GL super user only we have all those submenus and functions which you are able to see from GL responsibility. Clear, right? So anyway, in further sessions, when you are working in real time, we have to create our own menus as per the business requirement. That I'll discuss how to create and all, we'll see. But for now, just try to understand whatever from front end, whatever we are able to see, those all are there. Those all are there. GL. Now take simple example. We are in system administrator, right? In system administrator, we are able to access all these because for system administrator responsibility, there is some menu. Within that menu only we have all these. If you want to see that also, you can see. First, you just go to system administrator responsibility. You see which menu is assigned to that responsibility. What is the responsibility name? No. System administrator. What is the menu for system administrator? Navigate menu, system administrator, GUI. Within this only we have all these, right? Within this menu only we have all these. This is the responsibility we are accessing, right? If you want to see all those, you can see. Take the menu name. Try to understand. If you are not getting, leave it, not an issue. In future again we'll be covering this concept detail level and we'll be creating our own menus and all. That's it. Just try to understand. If you are getting okay, or else ignore it. Just try to look at what we are doing. That's enough. So if I want to see what are the submenus and functions we have within that, tell me what I have to do. Go to application, menu, query with the menu name. That's it, right? F11, give that name, control F. So no, that is actually user menu name in this field, because in that case that is both are same, but here this is here we have to query. But that name they given different, short name they given, this is the actual name. But earlier we queried for GL, right? In case of GL, the menu name and user menu name also both are same. That is the reason it was coming, but here it's not coming, means here we have to use the name. The same, right? Here see both screens. Oracle applications, right? And concurrent, profile, same. If I just click on profile, system personal. For system personal, this is the one, right? I'll take it, I'll query from here. System personal, right? That's it. That is a proof of submenus and menus functions we have as a part of main menu only. Clear, right? Fine. Now we are selecting the menu, means the responsibility through that menu will be recording the transaction. Okay. So here GL menu will be assigning, so that within the GL menu will have some submenus and some functions. Nothing but simply say forms or features. Now I'll be entering the data in these forms through certain responsibility, whatever responsibility I'll create. When I enter some data here, okay, when I record some transactions here, so where this data has to be stored? Tell me. You tell me. I am just the menu. I created responsibility for GL. Since GL, I'll be using the GL menu only. Through GL menu, we'll get access to certain forms. In those forms, I will enter some transaction. This transaction data, where it has to be stored? You tell me. Tell me exactly. Don't say something else. Just think and tell me. We are discussing certain points. By following that, you think and tell me. Where data has to be stored? If you are very sure, tell me. Database answer is correct always. That I am not asking for a database. Respective application. Tell me. Submenu. And schema. Yes, that is correct. Now, this menu is GL super user. GL menu. GL menu, by using GL menu, you can access to GL related functions. When you are entering the data related to GL, the data has to be stored in the database in the respective schema. These forms and belongs to which application? GL. That means where data has to be stored? In GL schema. Of course, here we didn't write it. Okay, we didn't write it, so let me write it. So here we have a GL schema. Technically speaking, we'll call it schema, or else within the database in GL application allocated area. Okay, so that has to be stored. And where that schema we have, in which database? Database name is standard. That means when you are selecting particular menu, through that menu, if user is recording some transactions, we have to specify this data has to be stored in which database, again within the database in which schema, means which application schema we have to specify, right? It's a mandate. Otherwise, just if you are entering the data, that's not enough, right? If you are entering the data, if you are not storing, what's the use of the data, right? So exactly the same we are doing through responsibility. When you are creating the responsibility, what we did is, so you given menu, and this data should be stored through this menu. If your user is going to record any transaction from this responsibility, by using this responsibility, through the responsibility, user can get access to this menu related submenus and functions, right? Through those submenus and functions, when user is recording the transaction, data has to be stored in which database? Standard. Data group is nothing but database name, but so purely if you get into technical, so slightly different. That's a grouping of the data, but functional point of for our understanding, this point would be enough where we can relate. Simple point. You are try to understand. Okay, through this menu, if you enter the data, that data has to be stored in which database? Standard database. That means simply you can understand data group is nothing but database specification. Okay, if you go technically something slightly, you will be finding some detailed information, but not required for us. For our understanding, this is enough. So when you enter the data through this menu, the data has to be stored in which database? Standard database. In standard database, we have many schemas as we discussed. In which schema? How you can say GL? Based on the menu. Menu related to GL, that has to be stored in the GL schema only. Database data group is standard. In standard database, menu is related to GL. The data also should be stored in the GL schema. That's it. That is the relation between menu and data group. Can we go ahead with the only menu without data group? No, impossible, right? Why? We can do it, right? Tell me, please. We cannot. You cannot do that. If you have only menu, okay, you can record the transactions, but you have to store it, right? If you want to store, you should specify some database where the data has to be stored, and again within the database, exactly in which schema data need to be stored, you have to specify. That is the reason. Just look at the responsibility creation. Out of these three components, those two are mandatory, right? Only menu and data group are mandatory. The reason, if you enter the data, you should store it. That's the reason those two are mandatory. You cannot make any one of them as an optional. If you don't have menu, you don't need data group. Okay. If you don't, if you, that is a relation. Just if you don't have menu, you don't require this. Okay. If you don't have this data group, even if you have menu, no use, right? So that's the reason there is a dependency. It's a mandatory. You have to use this. That's the reason Oracle also made it as a mandatory to connect and to store the data in the respective database in the particular schema. So we are very clear on this menu and data group, right? Menu means menu consists of features or functions. Simply you say, no need to go with the detail level, submenus, etc. Simple point is, through menu, you can access the particular functions. And when you are accessing to that functions, when you record the transaction, where data need to be stored, you have to specify when you are creating the responsibility only. That you can do through data group concept. With the data group concept, we can specify the database name as well as schema name. Always the schema will be specifying based on which menu we are using. If I am using the payables menu, I should not select schema as a general ledger or FA as a schema name. That's wrong, right? How we can store this data in that schema? Because AP related data, AP related menu related features related data can be stored only in the AP schema. You cannot find the relevant tables in other applications. So relevantly we have to select. Now we are clear on this. Data group all about specification of database and schema specification, that always based on menu only. Now what is the request group? Okay, what is the request group? So simple point, take the point. Okay, so what menu consists of? Submenus and functions. The same way, request group consists of reports and programs. Request group consists of reports and programs. Request group consists of reports and programs. Okay. See here, for our responsibility, we have a request group called as GL concurrent program group. So the same menu we opened and we verified, right? Submenus and functions. In the same way, we'll go and verify within this request group, GL concurrent program group. We'll go and verify what are the reports and programs we have. We'll go and verify. Okay. To verify this request group related programs and reports, take the navigation. Here also you can just take the navigation. When future we will be doing the same. You can take create custom request group. Create custom request group, but we are not going to create now. We'll create, but that is the purpose of navigation generally we'll be using. So take the task name as create custom request group. This request group who created? Oracle given. It comes along with the product. Comes along with the product, with the fresh environment, with the fresh instance when you take the license. So for that, take the navigation, security. Please take all the points. Security, responsibility, request. We'll go and see within that request group what are the reports and programs we have. So security, responsibility, request. So what is the request group name we used for GL responsibility? This is one, right? You query with this name. See, these all are the reports and programs. These all are the reports and programs which are part of this GL request group. Since the name is GL request group, you tell me which reports and which programs these are. GL related. All GL related reports and GL related programs. That's it. Okay, clear, right? The request group consists of reports and programs. What do you mean by report? What is the use of report and what is the use of program or request? The report always it will generate some output. If data is existed, based on the data, if you want to see that by selected information, you will be able to see through report. Report will display the output of the data. And when you talk about program always generally we can use to process the data. And sometimes the program also can display the output. It will process the data, it may display as a output. That also we can find it. Okay. So as a part of request group, any request group, any application, now we are talking about GL, it can be AP or AR, any request group consists of reports and programs. So report means, what is the purpose of report? To see the output, to fetch the data and to see the output. Program, to process the data. Sometimes the program also will display the data, what are the data it got processed. That's it. So now we got a proof of within the GL concurrent program group, request group, we have all these reports and programs. Now the point is, if you go to your responsibility, here we have our menu. Because of this menu, from if you go to this responsibility in the navigator, you are able to see within this what we have, right? Within this menu, what are the submenus and functions we have, we are able to see if you switch to this responsibility. The same way, when you go to this responsibility, you should be able to see whatever you have in this also, right? Right? Because this request group is assigned to this responsibility only, right? So when you go to this responsibility, we should be able to see all the programs and reports, which just now we verified, we reviewed, we opened and seen, right? We'll go and see that. Okay, whatever we have in the request group, how to see from the responsibility. Just switch to your GL responsibility. Go to SRS window. What is the navigation for SRS? Standard request submission. Tell me. You request find. Generally we use find to find the request status and all. General navigation you can take here. Okay. View request. Yeah, let's follow the same process. Find without also you can see. Okay, this is a request submission window. Here we have one tab called as submit a new request. You click on this, it will open one form. Here just click on OK. Okay, you don't need to take this point. Just try to understand. Anyway, we will be doing multiple times. Okay, this kind of process. Click on submit a new request, then say OK. Now it is just opening on form. Here we have LOV. If you click on this LOV, whatever we have in our request book, what is the request book for GL? GL concurrent program group, right? Within that, whatever we have, whatever just now we have seen from the sysadmin, all you can find from here. Click on this LOV. Seems to internet connectivity is not good. 1 second, let me reconnect. Second. Yeah, fine. Now it's fine. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you just click on LOV. So we are in which responsibility? HCL General Ledger Super User. For the responsibility, we assign the request group, right? Within the request group, what are the reports and programs we have? Those all you can see from here. You can see all. Okay. If you go to responsibility and okay, if you go to responsibility and if you remove from the responsibility request group, can we remove? Can we remove or not? If yes, why? How? No means why? Who are S? Who are S? No, I'm asking who are S. Again, there is some problem with this connectivity. Yeah, tell me anyway. Meantime, just you can tell me. It's fine. Tell me, like, can we remove or not? Can we remove request group from responsibility or not? Please, just some answer. Can we remove or not? See, after learning, after doing something, there should be some use out of that. I'm asking, you know how to create responsibility. We discussed about few points. Just my simple question is, okay, so can we remove or not? We cannot. Why? Field is grayed out or what? You can remove, right? It's a field is updatable means anytime. Again, the field is optional. We discussed that also, right? Responsibility field is optional. The responsibility request group field is optional field, right? Switch to sysadmin. security responsibility defined. Can we remove or not? And remove it. Okay. You are not spending time. If you are spending when you are practicing and doing something, you automatically will be getting those points. Seems so there is a big challenge with this internet. It's not functioning. 1 second. Okay, we can remove it. If you remove, what happens? Tell me based on your understanding now the points we are discussing. Okay, based on that you tell me like internet issue we have. Try to connect from something else. Yeah, tell me anyway. Just you tell me like, can we remove? Okay, we can remove. If you remove, what happens? Sorry, we cannot. If you remove the request group from the responsibility. Okay, if you remove the request group from the responsibility, from that responsibility you cannot access any reports or programs. That's it. Just 1 second. Yeah, let's find this. Sorry. Hope it will be working fine. So I removed. Now let's go to the responsibility and see whether we can access any reports and programs or not. Okay, I just removed and I saved. Switch to HCL and you can go to view request. You can click on find and from here you can click on submit a new request, or else directly here also you can go to that. Okay, anyway we'll go in this way only. So click on submit new request. How many reports and programs we can see? The number. Okay, tell me if you are sure or what. 0. Yes, right answer. What? Why you are not telling that? Just now we discussed we cannot find anything, right? I'm just finding some. It will be some interactive and all. You'll be speaking. Nothing. Okay, why you are actually given this is as optional? Reason is if somebody is working in the company, the person may not be required reports access. The user job may be just they'll enter the transaction and automatically will get stored in the database. Which user need access to reports and all? For that user only we can assign request group. And by default in whatever the request group you are using, GL concurrent program group, within that will be having all the reports related to, tell me, GL, all the report related to GL. But when you are working in real time, one user may be require access to 5 reports or 6 reports. In the same way, one user may require access to only journal creation, not to setups or something else. Okay, based on the business process where the user is involving, accordingly we have to give the access. If you assign the access, if you give the access to GL super user, the user can access to everything, right? Setups and process everything. The same way if you give access to GL content program group, request group, user can have access to all the programs and all the reports related to GL. But in the company, the users will be require access to specific area and specific reports. Accordingly, we can create our own menu. Instead of using the GL super user, there is one user you need access to only journal creation only. In that case, we can create our own menu that we call as custom menu. The same way, say in the request group, GL concurrent program group, say we have 100 reports for GL. Simple example I'm taking. But user require access to 10 only. If you assign this request group to that user, that responsibility, 100 will be accessed, but user require only 10. For that, what we have to do is we have to create our own request group. Within that, we have to select only 10. The 10 request group, in which request group we have 10 reports, that request group will assign to that user responsibility. That responsibility will assign to user. When that user will access to the application through his responsibility, he'll be able to run the only 5 or 10 reports which are created and assigned to that responsibility with the help of custom request group. This and all will be covering, but now not required, just for information I'm telling. So we'll be creating our own custom menus and custom request groups when you're working real time, how the cases would be and how we have to create everything. We'll discuss detail level. Now the intention is you should understand what is the meaning of this menu, data group and request group, what is the relation between that. Okay, simple point. See here, through this you can enter the data will go and store in the this database. From this reports you can fetch the data and you can generate the reports. Here you will enter this menu to store the data group, okay, and to view the data request group. That's it. So if somebody is working, they may not need access to view, but their job may be just entering the data. That's it. Now, which user require access to run the reports or programs? For those users only will be assigning the request group. Since here we are learning and testing, we'll use it. Later will be just testing in the different scenarios. Clear, right? So this is what we have to understand. What is the responsibility all about it? What is the purpose about it? Okay. Okay, I think fine, no issues. Now we'll proceed with the multi-hour configuration. Okay. If you have any doubts on this balance and segment flexfield qualifier or responsibility, please tell me, we'll discuss. Okay. Clear, right? Now when we are doing the implementation, the first step, okay, once we get access to instance as a implementation consultant, what we have to do is we have to log into the instance as a sysadmin user. No other user will be there. However, you find many users in this instance. Now just so I'm closing this. Okay, just think this is a fresh instance. Sorry. So close all this. Yeah. So this is from here. Generally, we start with the implementation process. Okay. First, we have to log into the instance. Once we get the login credentials to the instance, okay, what we have to do? We have to log into the instance as a sysadmin user. That is a seeded user which we get along with the product. So by default, username and password is sysadmin. But when you are working, when DBA is installing, or else after installing, anytime DBA can change the password. But default username and password is sysadmin. But when you are working, DBA can change the password. The password, username and password generally will get from DBA. Okay, so we have to log in as a sysadmin user. Password also sysadmin. Done. And click on login. Okay, once you access to the instance, what we have to do? We have to create the responsibilities. Already we discussed about multi-arg, right? Sorry, multi-arg we discussed. So to configure the multi-arg in our system environment, first we have to create all these responsibilities. Now we'll create the responsibilities for all these applications. Okay, for GL, what is the menu? Request group, GL concurrent program group. However, for GL we have a separate menu, separate request group. For same, each and every application will be having the separate menu and separate request group. But for all the application, data group means database is same, but within the database, which is different, schema is different. That's it. Schema is different by following for which application we are creating the responsibility. That's it. So this is the point we have to understand. Now we already logged into the system as a sysadmin user. Okay. Now we have to create the responsibilities. Here you don't find any user responsibility called as General ledger, vision operations, or some sample data, nothing you will find when you access to the instance as a sysadmin user. So this is the environment you will be having when you are working. So now we have to go to which responsibility? System administrator. Okay, go to system administrator responsibility. Okay, this is the one, right? Take all the points. Take each and every point. Log in as a sysadmin user, then select system administrator, not administration. System administrator responsibility. Select system administrator responsibility. Select in the sun, just click on that, it will expand. Now what we have to do, we have to open the system administrator responsibility, right? We have to open the system administrator responsibility in the form environment, form based. Okay, how to open? I don't know why you are thinking. How to open any responsibility? Click on any one of the function, right? By clicking on any one of the function, we'll open it. That's what I am asking. Okay. See, if you have some confusion, please let me know. I am ready to repeat also if any concept, if you are not understanding. I am asking simple questions, right? Okay. So I want to open the application, means any application will be opening by clicking on function. That's it, any function. I'm clicking on this one of the function which is available as a part of system administrator. You no need to read and understand that name also. Just click on any one of the function. Okay, click on any one of the function. Okay. Now we can apply the color also to the application. For that we have one profile option. But already for sysadmin user we set on this color. That's the reason application is appearing in this color. We can change the colors how you look and feel should be. That we'll discuss, no issues. Okay. This is sysadmin user responsibility, right? Now what is the first step? We have to create the responsibilities for all the applications. Which applications we are going to implement for the client, right? Fine, that. So when you are working real time, we will be doing certain things that I'll be discussing. First, let's try to learn what we should learn. Later, I'll be explaining this can be done by so and so. This we no need to do, or sometimes we have to do this. This and all, how reality works and all, we'll be discussing. But now let's focus on what we are trying here. Okay, we have to create the responsibilities for all these applications. What is the navigation? Security, responsibility, define. So first, we'll create the responsibility for general ledger. Okay, first we'll create the responsibility for general ledger. I'll give the name. Now we'll change the company name. Whatever we used that we'll ignore. Now everything from scratch we'll be creating. Even calendar, chart of accounts, primary ledger, everything we'll create. Because when we talk about chart of account, few points we have to discuss. Those should be included for better learning. Okay. So now here I'll give the name as something like ERPTREE. Okay, ERPTREE general ledger. So you can, because through this responsibility we are giving access to entire application. So you can call it as super user or manager, anything. You can call as manager or super, any term you can use when you create, where you will take the main. Okay, so I'm giving the name as ERPTREE general ledger manager. Application is general ledger. Please make a note. Oh, this is already existed. I think we used it for other batch. Fine. I'll just take the name. Everything will go with ERP. We'll use the prefix company name as something like ERP. ERP. So this I'm just taking as some company name. That's it. Okay. So ERP general ledger. Or else you suggest me some name and all, we can use it. Or else we use some other name which we didn't use in this, something, some call free. Some website name I'm taking this. General ledger super user or manager. So I'm taking the company name as call free. Okay, general ledger super user, and application is general ledger. And responsibility keys, it should be short name, right? I'll say call free GL. Done. Here, what data group you have to select? Standard database name. Standard. What is the application name? General ledger. What's the menu name? Sorry. Second. Today there is some network issue. Seems to everything is. So net is very slow. Okay. So application is general ledger. Menu name is GL super user. What is the request group name? These all are seeded. Seeded means which are provided by Oracle, which comes along with the product. This we can call as seeded menu or standard menu. This also we call as seeded request group or standard request group for GL. Okay, done. We created, then save it. Control S, or else here we have save icon. I'll create other responsibilities also, because we have a list of applications, right? For our multi-org understanding. Okay, we'll go and create. GL we created, we'll create for AP. So how to create one more? Place cursor here, click on new. I'll say all free. Accounts payable. Accounts payable, super user. Okay, application. Accounts payable, but the display they are giving as a payable. So the same you can select from the LO. Okay, and short name. Call free AP. Your data group. Standard. Application name is payables. Payables. Menu name. For each application will be having the separate menus where they grouped all the relevant application features. For payables we have a menu name as take AP navigate GUI 12. For payables AP navigate. This is a menu name for payables. Within this menu you can find all the payables related submenus and functions. That's it. Please make a note. Please take all the points. Whatever you are doing, just please make a note, even if you find very simple. Okay. You should remember all these menu names. Menu and the request group names. Anyway, data group, that is the same. All the cases for any application. But for which application, which seeded menu we have, you should remember. Okay. So AP navigate GUI 12 and request group name. So request group name is all reports. All reports with the payables combination. See here, there are many request groups. Names are all reports. For many applications, they are given the request group name as same. but those you can separate with the respective application. All reports for which application? Payables. So you select the combination of all reports, application name is payables, and select it. Just to type all reports in that field, it will list out wherever all reports, the request group name is existed, all it will list out. From that list you can select all reports with the combination of payables application. Okay, that's what finally we have to select for payables responsibility. Okay, save. Okay, now you can save it. Done. We create a responsibility for payables. Fine. Create one more responsibility for receivables. Place cursor here, click on new. So it's called free accounts receivables super user. So application name is receivables. Responsibility key is called free underscore. Since some short name or code or key, always you can go with some underscore instead of leaving space. All you can take in uppercase. Underscore yeah. Data group name remains same. Standard but schema. Application name is receivables. Menu name. Menu name is AR Navigate GUI. This is the menu name for receivables application. Please take all the points. Some people are just watching. I don't know the reason behind it. If you need some paper or you need some pen, means you can go and collect from Bala, available here. Okay. Fine. Menu name is this, and request group. Okay, all reports and programs which are related to receivables, all they grouped into one request group. That is nothing but receivables all. When you select receivables all, automatically system will select the application name. It will default. Okay. For receivables, request group name is receivables all. For payables, no. For this is the name they give. Okay. For payables, all reports. For GL component program code. That's it. For most of the applications, all reports only, but few applications they give a name in that way. Okay, done. Okay, save it. Now we'll create for cash management. Okay, we'll create the responsibility for cash management. Place cursor here, click on new. Give the name as all free cash management super user. Okay. The application name is cash management. Responsibility short name is called free CM cash management. And data group name is standard. Application name is cash management. The menu name is, so here see one point here we have to understand. We have cash management. What name you can take? Short name CM. In the same way we have one more application called as cost management. They're also CM only, right? So that is the reason instead of taking CM for cash management, they take in the short name as CE. CE means cash entry system. Cash management means where we'll maintain the cash related information, bank accounts and all, right? So they given which where the short name starts with the CE. CE super user. Like GL super user. Here CE super user. Request group name is all reports only with a combination of cash management. All reports, here you have to select the application name as cash management. That's all. Take all the points. Okay.
Date also have to change.
Sorry.
Date.
Date. Today's date. Today's date, right? Okay. We don't need to change the date. Not required. There is no reason to change because we are creating this response. It will be active from today only. Okay. Done. Save it. Done. Now just click on new to create another response. We will go and create for fixed assets. First we'll complete for finance, then we'll go to other. Okay, click on new. Give the responsible name as call free fixed assets super user. Okay. So application name is fixed assets. Simply you can find the name within the application as assets. And the key is call free FA. FA means fixed assets. Your data group name is same. Standard application is assets. And menu name is FA main underscore main. This is the main menu for fixed assets. Within this only you can find all FA related submenus and functions. And for request group you can go with all reports only. All reports assets. Done. So this is how we have to create the responsibility. So when we are see these responsibilities basically will be using for the implementation. Once implementation done, we will be creating the responsibilities for users. That will be discussing later. Okay. The responsibilities we are creating, those are all for implementation purpose, not for the users purpose where they'll use this responsibility to record the transactions. No, that we'll discuss later. Okay. Now we'll create for other applications. Okay, let's go with the HRMS. We create the HRMS responsibility. Just click on new. Give the name as call free human resources. Instead of writing HRMS, write the name as human resources. Super user, human resources. Super user application name is human resources. And responsibility is call free. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. We'll discuss. But you don't start with the discussions in between. Okay. If you have any doubt or any clarification, you ask me. We'll discuss. Anything, please. Else, if you want me to go a little bit slow, that also please let me know. I am just thinking and finding yes, this way is fine. But if you want me to change, I can do that. Okay. Please let me know. You can stop me if I'm going a little bit fast. Fine, done. Responsibility key short name I'm giving as a HR or HRMS, no issues. So data group name is standard, application name is human resources, and here menu name. Here we have some very common menu which is not specific to any country, but you can use country specific also. Since we are doing these setups and all for India, you can use India specific menu also, or else we have some common menu which you can use for any country, generic one, that also you can use. Let's go here with a India menu name, India HRMS navigator. Okay, select it. But anyway, we are not going to focus on too much to learn complete stuff from HRMS. HRMS will do the basic creation of employees. For that reason, you can use any menu, no issues. Okay. And here request group name, IN, HRMS. IN means India. Means we know when you talk about HRMS and all for country specific, the payroll process or HR related process will be there. Accordingly, they're given some separate submenus and features, functions. The same way reports also, which are specific to India. IN stands for India here. India HRMS reports and processes. Okay, that's all. Then you can save it. Okay, save it. Fine. Okay.
Sir, what is the menu? Different menu.
Hmm.
For any country, we can use the common menu.
Common, normally see for a common menu, it's not specific to any country, but normally when you are doing the implementation, we'll go with the specific country only. Okay. So we'll be having some HR foundation, HR navigator. These are separate menus we have, which never refer particular country. But always when you do the implementation, we'll go with the which country we are doing accordingly. If it is US related, we have here like India we selected. There we have a US HRMS navigator. Sorry. US HRMS navigator. See here. Let me write full name. Okay, that's it. Fine, done. Because if we are going to work on detail level, we can discuss more on that, but not required for us. That's the reason. Just let's proceed in this way. So anytime this menu can be changed. That is flexibility we have. The people who are working on HRMS, they can take the decision on that and they can do it. But generally for setups, you can use it. Okay. Now we'll create the responsibility for purchasing. Okay, we'll create the responsibility for purchasing application. Save it, then click on new. Give the name as call free purchasing super user. So application name is purchasing. So application name is called free. What is the short name for purchasing? PO. We discussed in P2P cycle, right? PO. So menu name is purchasing super user GUI. Okay, menu name is purchasing super user GUI. GUI means graphical user interface. Graphical user interface. What are the screen we are able to see? That is the technique of the GUI technique. Okay. Some graphical representation, some image representation, or some display. Yeah. Before GUI, what we have? All command prompt. Through command prompt only, just we can interact with the system. After that, just GUI developed and all we are using. Okay, directly I take this. Data group we have to take. Standard application is purchasing, and request group is all reports only. They say all reports, don't think all reports means it's just common, but it's a module specific, application specific only. Even the name is all reports, that application, whatever you are selecting, accordingly only will be having access to relevant reports or programs. Purchasing competition, done. Let's save it. Okay, fine. So we're done for this. Now just click on this. Place cursor here, click on new. If you are taking the points, please complete this. So majorly you have to take menu and request group name only. The remaining all same process, standard process. Based on you are creating the responsibility which application, accordingly will be selecting. But anyway, make a note at least one time, right? That you can use at the time of practice. Fine. Place cursor here, click on new. We'll create the responsibility for order management. Okay. Say all free order management. Super user. Application is order management. Responsibility key is here. I'll say all free OM order management. Data group name is standard, always standard. Application order management, the schema name area. Okay, and menu name is ADS OM super menu. So this is the seeded or standard menu for order management, where we can see all the features related to order management. Here request group for OM is OM concurrent programs. Here they didn't give you the name called as all reports. They changed the request group name to name as a OEM concurrent programs. Okay, we should remember all these menus and request groups for each and every application. For payables, what menu, receivables, what menu, for cash management, assets and PO, inventory, OM, etc. For each and every application, we have to remember. But again, not many and all, right? Very limited only we have, so you should remember. Okay, select menu as ADS OM super menu and request group name as OM concurrent program group. Because see, OM is kind of very vast application. Because when you talk about OM, there will be some pricing related, shipment related, and all. Okay, based on that, they given ADS means advanced supply chain management, or with the relevant meaning they given in that way. But actually, OM means the OM super menu, and we, along with the normal ordering process, these all features also will be available. Some advanced supply chain management or pricing other functions. That's the reason the naming convention they given in that way. Okay. Fine, that. Then save it. What are the other applications are left? Inventory we have to create. Just place the cursor here. This field, responsible name field. Click on new. So here name you can give toll free inventory super user. Application name is inventory. And menu this short name is toll free IN. Your group name is standard. Application is inventory. Okay. Here INV navigate. INV navigate. Here inclusive all. This is the menu name all inclusive GUI. Request group for inventories all inclusive GUI. Okay, fine. Then save it. I think we created all responsibilities whatever we planned. GL we created AP, AR, CM, FA, HRMS, PO, inventory, OM. Done, right? We created all responsibilities. So you can see here. It's not closed. So what is the next step? So now you just set one profile option to all the responsibilities. Later we'll create a user and all. Take those points. Say set HR user type. This is profile option name. We know one profile option, that is GL ledger name. Same way this is another profile option. We'll discuss more detail level, but I'll just give you the brief introduction about it. We'll discuss. Okay. For now, just take the point. Set HR user type profile option to all responsibilities. Why we have to set that we'll discuss. Okay. After that, what we'll do is we'll create the user. Then we'll assign all responsibilities. All responsibilities to user. Okay, we have to set HR user type profile option to all the responsibilities. Why we are assigning the private ledger to responsibility.
To access.
Sorry, what is use of GL ledger name? Anyone? Everyone can answer. Everyone should answer. Okay. My question is why we are. What is the use of GL ledger name profile option? Yep. So with a GL ledger name profile option, we can assign the primary ledger to responsibility, so that from that responsibility you can access to the primary ledger to record the business transaction. Right? It's all about access purpose. This profile option also same purpose, but which access? That is that profile option to access where responsibility can have access to primary ledger. But here with HR user type, there are multiple different values within that as a payroll and HR and payroll both, that we'll discuss detail level. Simple point I'll tell you. If you are in the payables, if you want to access to HR related forms, you are in the payables, you want to access to HR, employee related information and all. So there should be some connectivity between your payables application and HR related application, right? If you are in the receivables, you have to connect to the respect to HR related. I mean, as a user, when you talk about HRMS application, within that, the users will be playing the role as only HR users or payroll users. The HR users will have access to only HR related functions. The payroll user will have access to only payroll. If you give access to both payroll and HR, the same user will be able to access to the HR related and payroll related information or specific forms. But now here we have to specify. So from payables, as which user you want to access to HR, human resource application, that we have to specify. Here for us, we can specify as a, we want to access from any application to HR related application as a HR user. That is enough. Okay, payroll and all not required for us. We'll go and see that again. We'll be discussing once we get into the application. I'll explain detail level more. Now the simple point is to connectivity from payables. If you want to connect to the HR related application with the profile of HR user, or with the profile of payroll, or with the profile of HR and payroll, these are the different options we have, but we will go and set the profile as a HR user. We'll see that. Okay. Now task is set HR user type profile option to all the responsibilities. From where we can do it? Sysadmin only, right? Let's go to sysadmin. What is the navigation? What is the navigation to set the profile options? Any profile option. One profile option we already done, right? What is the navigation? So you are not preparing at all. That won't work. Nobody is answering. Tell me profile what up. After profile, nothing. Huh? Tell me what is the exact navigation. If you say profile, nothing, great. What is the navigation? Profile system. Please read your note also, please. At least from tomorrow onwards, I'll be expecting at least half of members who are really interested, who are really dedicated, they will be answering. Let's see. We'll be counting from tomorrow who are answering. Okay, profile system. So you want to assign to which responsibility? HR. Who is telling that answer? All. We want to assign to all the response. We want to set that profile option to all. So all means you don't need to search for anything. All starts with the call free, right? Just you type call free and tab out. It will list out all. You don't go with your own sequence. If you go with your own sequence, one or two responses will be missing to assign this. So whatever the sequence system is displaying, follow the sequence. Which is the first one? Accounts payable. Select first one. Follow system display sequence. So there won't be an issue. Okay, now which profile option we have to use? HR user type. Here format wise, HR : space user type. This is how the name should you should select. 1 second. I think it's not the space. Yeah. So this is the format you have to. This is already predefined, which is given by Oracle. So take the naming convention like this: HR : no space user type. Or else you can select from LOV, right? The profile option name will be in the LOV list of values. You can select. If you know the name, you directly can type here. Select first responsibility and give the profile name as HR user type. Here this is our responsibility. Okay, by using this profile option, we have to set the profile value. When you talk about GL ledger name, what is the profile value? Ledger name is profile value we call. Through profile option, if you are assigning and if you are setting anything to any responsibility, what you are setting, that simply you call as profile value. Ledger name is profile value in this case. Here, these are the three profile values we'll be having. That means from this call free accounts payables responsibility, you want to have access to HR application as HR user and payroll user or HR with payroll user, because these different values will have a different privileges. But since we are going to work on financials, we no need to go in detail level and payroll or this and that. Simply you can select HR level access is enough for us. Okay, so just select profile value as HR user. The same repeat for all other responsibilities. That's it. Save it. Done. In the same way, we have to repeat the same profile value assignment to all the responsibilities by using the same profile option. Okay. Now the shortcut, what you can do is, so instead of going again doing everything, just selecting, what you can do, hold shift, say page up or page down. If you say page up, the below page will be up. If you say down, this page will go back and that will be anyway on top. That's it. See, we are assigned and save it. After that, what you can do is hold shift, page up. The form will be on top. Now profile option is remain same, right? Only you have to change the responsibility. How to change? Just type call free sequence related display, the second one, next one, right? You don't plan first I want to set for GL, then AP, CM, then only I'll go with some other application. Don't go in that way. Somewhere you will be missing some responsible related assignments. So go with the same sequence what system is displaying. So next one, receivables, select it. Same profile option, right? Again, you know to touch it, click on find. Here which value? HR user, same. HR user, same. Done. Okay, any doubt or confusion, please? Done. Now again, shift page up. Then change responsibility. Call free, tab out. It will display all. Already for this two we completed, right? Now we have to set for cash management. See, these profile option for certain responsibilities, okay, sometimes may not be required. Okay, but more or less almost all the applications will be accessing the employees. That's the reason it's recommended you have to set it up. Okay, if it's not required, even there won't be any issue with that, but set for all. Then click on find. The profile value should be HR user, simple. Shift page up, call free, fixed assets, HR user, save it. Shift page up, change the responsibility. After fixed assets we have general ledger application, HR user, save it. So any doubt or confusion, please? After general ledger, next one is HRMS related. Set for this also. Don't be an issue, please. So again, call free, inventory super user, HR user, profile value. Again, shift page up, call free. After inventory we have order management responsibility, HR user, done. Shift page up, call free, purchasing, HR user, done. Okay, we are assigned to set to all the responsibilities. The next step is create user. We create our own user. So what is the navigation to create the user? Already we just listed, right? We're done with that. Now we have to create the user. So navigation is security user defined. All navigations also we should remember. Security user. Why we have to remember everything? Why we have to remember everything? Just we are learning. Why we have to remember? No, because we have experience tomorrow. That is the reason. Okay. Otherwise, okay. General concept, okay, you may not remember everything because since just you learned. Okay, so that we have to remember all the time. With that reason, we should remember everything. Done. Username is call free. Password, just I'm giving Oracle. It will ask us to re-enter the password in the same field. Enter once again. It will accept. Then save it. The status will be get updated as active. Once you save, it will user will be active status. And here password expiration, you can set the policies. You may set this password should get expired within how many days. If I set 10 days, after 10 days this password will get expired. Again we have to reset the password. Or else based on access, after 50 times login it has to expire, not depending on days. The 50 times you may log in within 10 days or 1 day also, right? Then it will get expired, doesn't matter how many days. None means it will never expire, it will be remain same. Okay, so that's how we can set. But when you're working in real time, the clients will have their own policies, will write the coding also. I mean, technical people will be writing some policies saying that first letter should be capital, some numerical should be there, etc, etc. But here any test it will accept. Here we have to assign all the responsibilities. So just type call free, it will list out all. Select one by one. Tables we selected, then go to next row and again say call free. Receivables, say call free. Cash management, call free. Fixed assets, call free. General ledger, call free. Human resources, call free. Inventory, order management, okay. So done. Along with that we'll assign one more responsibility called as system administrator. System administrator, okay. Assign and save it. Okay, we are ready with all the responsibilities. In tomorrow's session we'll start with the actual multi-org structure, whatever we discuss. But if you want to start working on that, first responsibility should be ready. So we are ready with that. In tomorrow's session what we'll do, we'll see how to create the business group, and again by adding few more details we'll create the primary ledger once again. Okay, we'll create the chart of accounts, we'll be adding some additional segments, we'll discuss what is the purpose, some other key points. Then we'll create the, after that what we have anyway, along with the primary ledger we'll create the legal entities also. Then we'll create the operating units, and then we'll create the inventory. This is just whatever the multi-org structure, whatever the hierarchy we have. By following that hierarchy we'll complete all the setups. Okay, tomorrow's session will start with that business group creation and everything. But in today's session, I mean today you can complete your presentations. See, I'm not finding most of the people are not preparing. I can find 2-3 people, I think is okay, and there are some other people also. You have to get into the application, not you'll be getting into institute just. Okay, that means I have to spend more time. Otherwise whatever we are expecting, it works in reverse way. Please try to understand. Okay, you should spend time. If you are spending again, how you have to spend also I'm telling. Please, you try to focus on that. It's not like you'll be telling the same, I'll be doing the same. That approach won't work. Okay, please try to implement the same whatever we are planning to do, which would be the best. Okay, at least I'll be expecting from tomorrow you people will be answering. I'll see some new people will be answering. I'll see that. I'll expect that from tomorrow. If you are not able to answer, I'll try to find the reasons also from you only. If anything is there from my side wrong and etc, I'll try to correct it. Okay, anyway, we'll see tomorrow. We'll start with the BZ creations and other stuff, what is the part of multi-org definition. Okay, fine then, see you tomorrow.